What's up, guys? Today we're going to be checking out the meelod DK300 Max, which comes with two 1100 watt motors and two 20 amp hour batteries. That's a lot of battery. That's going to give you a lot of range. Meelod sent me this bike out, and I'm really excited to show you guys what this bike is all about. Let's check out the unboxing and learn more about the meelod DK300 Max. Meelod, or is it meelod? Ride with freedom. Box looks pretty good. Let's see what the inside looks like. Let's see what we got in here. I love the smell of new e-bikes in the morning. Right, let's see what's in here. Got this little toolkit, which comes with some wrenches, a star key, and a Phillips head screwdriver. Alright, got some pedals, unbranded, handy dandy reflector. Check this out, big old headlight, nice. Can't wait to see this thing in action. Look at that. And we got our e-bike manual and a nice set of Allen keys. This is pretty nice. Alright, and here it is, the front wheel, guys. We got 160mm rotors, and this is a really good brand, MXUS brand. This is actually a well-known hub motor brand. That is really good to know. It's not some no-name brand. God knows what's inside. It's not made cheaply. This is a high-quality hub motor, and I'm so excited that there's two of them in this bike. As you can see, these are not your typical tires. This is an e-moped style tire, which I wonder if these are thicker than normal bicycle tires. We're gonna find out. I really like the tread pattern on these. Look how cool that is. I gotta say, everything is really well packaged. Everything has a lot of foam around it, a lot of zip ties holding everything around. This is great. Here we have, guys, the metal fender. Very nice. And we've got the box for accessories.
Very nice box for my trinkets.
And here we have the battery charger, branded meelod. Feels high quality and heavy.
Are they heavy?
Yeah.
Then they're expensive. Put them back.
Lots and lots and lots of padding. Very impressed. I really like that they even added protected zip ties for the battery to make sure it doesn't fall off during shipping. Attaching the handlebars is super simple. Just position them in the middle of the stem and tighten the 4 Allen bolts. And we've got 2 sets of keys that come with this bike. So this one key, CT283, opens the CT283 lock on the top battery. This right here is a 48 volt, 20 amp hour battery. Wow. So just in the top battery alone, you already get 20 amp hours of battery. It's got a separate on switch. It looks like we got some charge. Do you like the e-bike? Laura, do you like the e-bike? And you guessed it, guys, the bottom battery is also a 20 amp hour battery. That's incredible. And here are the two batteries charging. If you notice, this is a 4.5 amp charger. And if that was for one battery, that'd be great. However, this is actually getting split between these two batteries. You could charge them at the same time. There's a cable right here that splits. So that's a nice feature. One charger can charge two batteries. Let's check the weight for these batteries. So we've got the bottom battery right here. Put that down. That is 11. You really love these batteries, don't you? Oh, thank you, thank you. What a good girl. And the top battery weighs 11.4 pounds. Okay, so we've got almost 25 pounds of battery. That's a lot of battery, but that means that's a lot of range. You will not have range anxiety with this bike, especially with these two batteries. And to put on the front wheel, we're gonna use my handy dandy handlebar jack stands. Got my handlebar jack stands down to make sure nothing gets scratched up while this bike is flipped upside down. As you can see, the screen is not touching the ground, nothing is touching the ground. Link to these will be in the description below. Check it out, guys. Two things I noticed right away is that the front dropouts are super strong. Look at this, there's a huge bracket that has to be Allen keyed in, and then the axle can go in. So this dropout is really made to handle the power of that front hub motor. And check it out, guys, quad piston calipers. This thing is gonna stop on a dime. Really nice waterproof connector for the front hub motor, and I want to show you guys how I put this on. First of all, this front hub motor is super secure. It's got a torque arm in here, it has a torque washer in here, and the same thing on the other side, but they give you a bunch of different washers to use, and I just want to show you how I did it so the front brake spins freely and everything looks great. So guys, I actually put this front wheel on wrong. I didn't include some of the washers, but meelod has a link to an assembly video on how to assemble this bike, which is so helpful. They show you exactly how to put it together, including that front fork with all the washers they give you. So definitely check out the link. I'm gonna leave a link in the description below if you guys need help assembling this bike. Right pedal clockwise. Left pedal counterclockwise. After putting on the fender, the last thing we're doing is attaching the headlight, which is super simple. Just tighten up those two Allen bolts and plug it in. Let's get this bike out on the road. All right, we are in dual motor setup. Got our GPS speedometer set up. Let's see how this goes. This is a 100% fully charged battery. Hill climb test number 1. This is a moderate hill, but it's on the longer side, so it gives you a good real world idea of what your e-bike will perform like, right? It's not crazy steep, but it's not flat. Here we go, 3, 2, 1, go. A little bit of a delay there with the accelerator, strong off the line. 20 miles an hour. All right, really good speed up this hill. Nice. This is great. Wow, all right. Hill climbing ability. So far, so good. Wow, these brakes are great. Those quad piston calipers are excellent. Steep hill climb test. My wired cruiser goes up this at 15 miles an hour with one motor. Let's see how this goes. Two motors. 3, 2, 1, go. $16. All right, 15. Nice. Very nice. This bike is made out of steel. It is not an aluminum frame, which means it is very heavy, but also very durable. With the suspensions, this bike can actually support a rider of up to 400 pounds. So if you're on the heavier side or you get a cargo rack, you can carry a lot of stuff with this. And in my opinion, the styling on this bike is badass. It looks awesome with the headlight. It almost looks like a motorcycle. It's a real head turner. One of the key features of this bike is that it offers you not just one, but two giant 20 amp hour batteries. And each battery does have a BMS of 45 amps. So in theory, you could run this bike off of one battery with both motors. If you're just using the rear motor, using pedal assist, sipping on the battery life, you could probably get almost 100 miles of range on this bike. And when you do turn on that second motor, it will use up battery faster, but you'll be able to climb any hill that you come across. There's the single controller for two motors. And each of these motors gets a peak of 22 amps, which works out to about 1056 watts per motor at 48 volts and a little bit higher at a full charge. This bike does come with a Shimano 7-speed freewheel in the back with a Shimano Tourney TZ derailleur. Pretty basic. The front chainring is on the smaller side, and up to 20 miles an hour it's useful. And after that, you're pretty much just ghost pedaling. But with two motors, why do you really need to pedal? It's not really a big deal in my opinion. Up hills, like you see right now, very useful, especially at lower charges. But once those motors get going and the land flattens out, you're good to go with just motor power. The seat is pretty basic. It is on the firmer side and a little bit narrow, so if you're going for a longer ride, it is going to get uncomfortable. I would highly recommend replacing this seat with an aftermarket seat that's more comfortable. The front headlight looks amazing and it's very bright. It does feature a high beam and a low beam setting. The rear light does look great, but it only works as a brake light when the rear light is off. Otherwise, it just stays lit when it's turned on. Very sharp looking screen with the meelod logo when you start the bike. The handlebar grips are a hard rubber material with a quarter twist throttle. You have the headlight controls, your horn, and there's that Shimano 7-speed shifter. And these are meelod branded hydraulic disc brakes with quad piston calipers and 160mm rotors that will stop you on a dime. This bike also features an adjustable long travel, very soft rear suspension. I love the quality of the rear suspension, and of course, front adjustable forks where you can adjust the compression and the rebound of these forks. The suspension is definitely one of the highlights of this bike. It makes it feel a lot more comfortable and rideable, especially if you're commuting and you have to jump curbs, go through potholes, and maybe you're even on roads that are not well maintained. And if you are going off-road, these suspensions are really going to help you out. The tires that this bike comes with are CTS Scout E-Moped style tires, and the tread looks amazing. I don't think they're thicker than normal bicycle tires. I'm not 100% sure on that. And this bike does come with metal fenders, which have their pros and cons. They do look better, but they do rattle a little bit when you're on the road. This bike is made for riders between 5'3" and 6'2", and it has a seat height of 33.8 inches. And just for reference, I am 5'10", 200 pounds. For whatever reason, this bike comes limited at 33 miles an hour, and to unlock the full speed, you turn it on, hold the plus and minus buttons, get down to the information section in the settings, type in the password of 2020, and then from there you can get to the top speed settings, set that thing all the way up, and that will increase your top speed up to 35 miles an hour. Pedal assist 1. As soon as you hit 20, you're ghost pedaling. But it looks like it'll give you 20 miles an hour at pedal assist 1. Pedal assist, we're going uphill. Pedal assist 2. Same power. Oh, that front metal fender is really vibrating. Pedal assist 3 does give you a little bit more power, a little bit more top speed, but again, you're pretty much ghost pedaling. After 20, you really do want to change the gearing on this bike if you get it. Get that big front chain ring. I'll leave some links in the description below, along with a different freewheel in the back. That'll help this bike a lot, give you a much better pedal assist experience, if that's something you want. But again, this bike isn't really made for pedaling. It's got 2 motors, guys. You don't need to pedal this. Pedal assist 4, a little bit more power. And then 5 really cranks it up. And obviously, you get full power with the throttle. Next, we're gonna check out the speed of this bike going downhill and on flat ground. Downhill speed, 36. That's as much power as the motors will give you. They will not move faster than that. If you threw maybe a 52 volt system on there, some 52 volt batteries, which would be expensive because 40 amp hours worth of 52 volt batteries is a lot of money. But if you check the capacitors of the controller, some of them are rated usually to 60 volts, and a 52 volt battery is charged just up to that point, right around to 58 volts. So that will give you 8% more top speed. Usually that calculates out to about 1 or 2 miles an hour. So you can get maybe like 36 miles an hour on this bike instead of 34 as your top speed. Tell you what, since most people round up on these top speeds anyways, we'll give it 35 miles an hour. I have officially given this bike the 35 mile an hour top speed badge. Sure, why not? And the reason I'm giving it a slight nudge, a boost in that direction, right, a curve in the test score, is because it's an amazing hill climber. It climbs awesome. So overall, it feels much faster than a single hub motor. But we're gonna go on a little ride, see what the range is like. At high speeds, this e-bike is super stable and very comfortable. The dual long travel soft suspension really smooths out the road and gives you a good road feeling where you feel safe going at high speeds. And the 2 motors are incredible at hill climbing and accelerating the bike to those higher speeds, so you never feel like you're short on power, especially with the 2 batteries that have tons and tons of gas in the tank. You'll always have power and you'll always be confident on this e-bike. Yeah guys, as soon as you get to pedal assist 1, you just turn it on, then the throttle gives you full blast. But if it's pedal assist 0, you get nothing from the throttle. And the bike automatically starts at pedal assist 0, which is good because you don't want to accidentally touch the throttle, whiskey throttle it, and have the bike fly out from underneath you or from however you're holding it. I love this neighborhood. Nice little neighborhood. There's a lake nearby. Tiny little houses. Not a lot of traffic. Love it. Here we come to a complete stop. So the YouTube commenters are happy. I got you guys. I got you. Oh, that front motor roars. Another complete stop. Look at that. Oh my God. You know what I like about this bike is that it starts the front wheel off softly. It doesn't abruptly give you all the power in the front wheels, which helps prevent a lot of wheel spin, which helps save your front tire. A lot of these other bikes, they'll just give you massive amounts of power right off the bat in the front. And yeah, it looks cool in videos and maybe for the first few times riding it, but then you just get annoyed by having to make sure that you're not spinning out the front tire, which could also be dangerous because if you don't have traction in the front tire, you can't steer. And it also wears out your front tire a lot, so you're gonna have to be switching that out often. But this doesn't do that, thankfully. It starts it off, it ramps up the power nice and slow. You're not always burning out, because that does get old after a while.
Some of the upsides of having a moped style e-bike, and this one gives me motorcycle-like vibes, is that you do have a significant road presence and cars will treat you more like a motorcycle and someone that exists versus a bicycle who they think is just going to be going maybe 10 or 15, maybe 20 miles an hour tops. So they're more likely to see you and respect you when you are on the road versus if you're just an e-bike that looks like a bicycle. So for that reason, I think moped style e-bikes are a great choice if you are commuting on the roads with other cars.
See, it's also good in situations like this that it doesn't give you full power, because on a tight turn with dual motors, you could easily lose control, very easily. But this one doesn't skid out, so it's a lot safer, a lot more controllable. Really nice.
The turning radius on this bike is limited because the battery is in the way. It uses little rubber stoppers to prevent the fork from crushing the top battery.
I'm just gonna go on single motor. Single motor, pedal assist 1, on a rail trail, being respectful with my horn. So we're at the top gear, guys, and this is comfortable. This top gear, 7th gear, is the best for pedal assist 1 rear motor. If you're just hanging out with pedestrians, this is the only gear you need for this bike. If you're not going to change the gearing, just keep it on high the whole time. Unless you run out of power and you need a really low gear for like an emergency or something, or your battery is extremely low, then you might need that lower gear. This display is nice. One thing that I really wish it had was the ability to see my watts, how many watts I'm pulling, and the voltage of my battery, because a little percent bar like that doesn't mean a whole lot, and there's a lot of inaccuracies with those bars also. Plus, I want to see how many watts this thing is pulling. I know the controllers go up to 22 amps times 2, which means each wheel is getting about 1100 watts, maybe 1000 to 1100 watts. So this bike is pulling total of about 2200 watts, we'll say. I think the calculation was 1056 times 2. So 2100 watts for both wheels combined, which is great. Gives you plenty of hill climbing. It'll give you plenty of top speed, 35 miles an hour is great. Going faster than that, I will say from personal experience, once you get closer to 40, and especially after 40, it is dicey, guys. It does feel very sketchy. Like, if something pops out in front of you, going those speeds, there is no way you're gonna maneuver and stop on time with bicycle components. Yes, this does have amazing disc brake calipers, and if you put bigger rotors on it, it'll stop on a dime. Regardless, they are not motorcycle brakes. So going on a rail trail, 15 miles an hour, pedaling at gear 7. I'm not using the rear motor right now. It's very quiet, it's very tame. But it does look a little bit silly because I have a motorcycle helmet on and I'm riding an e-bike that looks like a motorcycle. Yeah, this gear is plenty, number 7. And if there's a small hill that you need to climb, just give it a little bit of throttle and you're good. Very tame if you need it to be. Or you could use it as a commuter, going 35 miles an hour. There's an ice cream shop nearby. I should have brought my wallet. Darn. I gotta lose weight anyways. Been eating too much. Too many barbecues and pizzas and whatnot. Good thing I'm out here paddling my moped. So I'm out here, hopefully you guys can see. The bottom battery is at 58%. Turn this off. Switch the top one on. Let's see what the top battery is. Top battery's at 58%, so these do drain very evenly. There's a nice battery blender underneath the seat. So as the power goes down, both of them will go down all at once, as they should. Let's turn this off. Turn both batteries on. I did a short ride on the streets down to a rail trail and then back to my neighborhood. So it consisted of a mix of riding, but it was mostly dual motor, full throttle, because I can't help myself. So the battery started off at 100% and it quickly does go down when you are using both motors. However, if you are just using one motor in pedal assist under 20 miles an hour, you will go very, very far with this bike, considering it has dual batteries and 40 amp hours of battery capacity available, which is more than double of what some of the higher end e-bikes have in terms of battery capacity. This seat is okay. I'm sure there are better moped style seats out there. Decently squishy. It's a tad bit uncomfortable, but it's not bad. A lot of bumps. I can hear those metal fenders banging around, clanging around. Metal fenders are nice. You think, oh, they're metal. They must be high quality. But there are some downsides to metal fenders. Number one, they dent very easily. And they rattle around. Whereas plastic fenders don't dent, they just crack. Obviously that's not good either. But they're generally quieter than metal fenders. Oh, that front motor is roaring. Hill climbing is still great at half battery with the dual motors. This will be extremely challenging for one motor. We're going almost 25 up this hill. $30 miles an hour uphill, I'll take it. That front motor is loud when accelerating. Alright, so top speed, even at 31% battery, is still pretty good. It's over 30 miles an hour, getting about 32. Pretty good. So we lost like 2 or 3 miles an hour from 100%. Not bad.
At higher speeds, these fenders do rattle around and make a little bit of noise. I'm going to look into it and see if I can put some kind of rubber spacers or something similar to that around them to stop them from rattling around. I tightened them down as much as I could, and that's just something you have to deal with when you get e-bikes with metal fenders, is that they do make noise when they rattle versus plastic ones generally stay silent.
I don't know if that's a cop or not, but I'm gonna pedal. So we're almost at 25% battery and we're still able to go 30 miles an hour. That's impressive. A lot of bikes, once they lose their battery levels, they're incredibly slow. They slow down a lot, but this still has a good amount of power thanks to those two motors.
30 miles of mostly top speed riding using dual motors, really pushing them, and a little bit of pedal assist 15-mile-an-hour riding. I got the battery down to 18%, and after letting the batteries recover for a few minutes, it did recover to 33%, which means you can expect about 50 miles of aggressive dual motor riding, and way more than that if you're just using one motor and pedal assist, sipping on the battery life. I had a ton of fun riding and reviewing this bike. It cost just under $3,000, and I think for the parts that you get, for the massive dual batteries that'll give you that ridiculous range, dual adjustable shocks and dual motors, I think the price is worth it. Guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you think about this bike? Is it a good contender to, let's say, the Aerial Rider Grizzly, which is a little bit faster, a little bit more powerful, but seems like it's plagued with reliability issues? Or is it not? Let me know in the comments below. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. I respond to every single comment. And if you want to check out this bike, I am leaving a link in the description below. Feel free to check it out so you can get more information on this amazing dual motor e-bike. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. Until next.